Once upon a time, in a large green field, in a large red house, lived a very small girl named Little Red Riding Hood. Now on this particular day, Little Red and her mother were loading up a basket of goodies for Red to take to her sick grandmother who lived on the other side of the forest.
Little Red, my dear, please be careful. The forest is not a safe place for little girls.
I will, Mother.
And with a final hug, the apron strings were loosened, and Little Red was sent off alone on her journey. The day was beautiful, and Little Red skipped into the woods with a heart full of joy.
Tree, tree.
Then there was a problem, and she didn't know the answer, so she sat down and cried. But as she wept, her mother's words came to her.
Child, why are you crying?
Mother, oh Mother, the path is forked and I don't know which way to go.
Dear child, whenever the path forks, always stick to the right.
Yes, Mother.
Now Red was really on her way, skipping along, singing her song just as confident as before. Then she heard something.
Hey, little girl.
Somebody there?
A curious child by nature, she ventured off the path in the direction of the voice.
Down here. Well, hello. What's the matter with you?
I'm sorry, I just didn't know Garlic could talk.
Are you alone in the woods, little girl?
I guess so.
And what, pray tell, is the reasoning for this?
I'm taking a basket of goodies to my grandmother.
Oh, why can't your grandmother get any of her own goodies?
She's very sick.
Ha so you're sent alone to the woods.
But I wanted to go alone.
Well, I suppose foolish children who wander off the path deserve what they get.
But sir, you called to me.
Didn't your mother ever tell you about the danger in the woods?
And with that, she was on her way. Then it happened.
Spare a crumpet. Sorry if I scared you earlier.
That's okay, I was kind of nervous already.
Nervous?
I met a piece of talking garlic. He warned me about the dangers in the woods.
Dangers in the woods? Nonsense. Don't you agree?
Yes, I guess so.
Little Red and her new friend continued down the path, talking and laughing and having a splendid time.
Oh, how delightful. Well, Little Red, it's been a pleasure making your acquaintance. But this is where we must part ways. Thank you again for the crumpet, and do wish your grandmother well for me. Goodbye, Little Red.
Bye.
And so she went on alone, even more confident than before, thanks to the grasshopper. Certainly there was no longer than a mile or two to go. She couldn't wait to get there, eat goodies, and tell her grandmother all about what had happened to her in the woods. In fact, she was so distracted that she nearly didn't notice what was standing right in front of her.
Hello. What brings a sweet, innocent girl like you out here into these big, bad woods?
Taking this basket of goodies to my grandmother.
But aren't you afraid of all the dangers?
I was, but then I met a grasshopper who said there wasn't any.
Oh, did he? How interesting. Come with me.
This wolf was different than any she'd ever heard about. Her mother said that wolves were horrible and ferocious, but this one was actually very pleasant.
I must say that I'm surprised you aren't afraid of me.
Why would I be?
Well, I am a wolf, and most people think that makes me bad.
You seem like a very nice wolf.
Oh, thank you. Well, here we are.
What do you mean?
Why, Red, this is the shortcut to your grandmother's house.
Shortcut? But Mother always told me to stay to the right.
That's only because she doesn't know any better. Take it from someone who lives in the woods. This is a shortcut. Go on now.
Little Red, is that you, my dear? Come in. Little Red, my dear?
This is a rather peculiar shortcut.
Indeed it was, for what had seemed to be a path when she had started had now dissolved into a terrible tangled mess of dead leaves, thorny vines, and gnarled roots. She began to realize that had she stayed on the trail, she would certainly have been to Grandmother's house by now, which made her think that the wolf had not known what he was talking about after all. Then the trees began to thin, and there was light.
Finally, at Grandmother's house. Grandmother?
Yes. Come in, child. Come in and sit beside your old granny. It's so good of you to come visit me. I hope there wasn't much trouble coming through the forest.
It was true that Red had not
how's your
seen her
mother?
grandmother in a very long
Have you
time,
been
but
a
something
good
was now
girl?
quite different about her.
Oh, how lovely. Crumpet's my favorite. Did you make these yourself?
Grandmother,
Yes, child.
what big ears you have.
The wolf was startled by the child's keen observation, but replied cleverly.
All the better for me to hear you with, my dear.
The wolf had to keep up the charade while his stomach digested enough of Grandmother to make room for the girl.
Grandmother, what big eyes you have.
All the better to see you with, my dear.
Grandmother,
Yes.
what big teeth you have.
This was it. He could keep up the game no longer.
All the better to eat you with, my dear.
Now it just so happened that not far from there was a woodsman, a good, strong woodsman, hard at work when he heard the terrified screams of a small child. He was also a brave woodsman, so with axe in hand he went to investigate what the matter might be. Then he saw it. A wolf, asleep, his belly abulged with a freshly eaten meal. Red and her grandmother were A-OK, thanks to the heroic woodsman and his axe. Her adventure was over, but certainly not forgotten.
The wolf chased me, and the woodsman, he saved my life.
From that day on, Little Red, Grandmother, her mother, and of course the woodsman frequently got together to eat crumpets, drink tea, and listen to Red retell her tale of the garlic, the grasshopper, and the wolf.